Hey y'all, Pestis Deathbird here with another story. Today's Friday, and usually on Friday, before COVID-19, y'all went out drinking. And of course, bars are closed, you can't drink. So I decided that I would share a drinking story with y'all. Now, I don't do, I never did a lot of drinking. I didn't go visit bars except for one time. And, social drinking just ain't my thing. But yet I have a drinking story. Ironically, this happened when I was 18 years old. Now, before I do this story, I'd like to give y'all a little background. I come from a family where registering to vote for the very first time is a big deal. It's as big a deal as graduating high school, getting your first job, your first car, your driver's license, your first drink at the bar, that type of thing. Well, anyway, what happened was that I actually knew what political party that I was going to join and, I was going to register to. I'm going to be keeping politics off my page, so I'm not going to say which party it was, except that it was one of the third parties. Now, nobody believed me that I would go third party for my first, political party affiliation, and then I went and did it. Now, my very first time ever voting, I went with my parents. And now my dad was really cool. My mom was there to take my picture coming out after voting. And it just so happened that the way we got, signed in to vote was my mom went first, then my dad, then me. And we had this really tiny room, and where the place where you'd sign in to vote was literally almost right next to the booths, to the voting booths. Well, my mom went in, and then my dad, and my mom took one booth, and they had to process my dad and me through next. So they took a little bit. My mom was about halfway, I don't know how far done she was, but my mom finished first. And she was almost done when my dad and I finished getting signed in. Our booths were right next to hers. Like mine was on the end next to the sign in place to vote. Dad was in the center. Mom was in the center. Dad was next to mom. So you had me, mom, dad. Anyway, so what happened was mom was almost done, so she got done first. Then dad was, going to take a while. And the booth between me and my dad was empty. Mom had gone to cast her ballot, then wait outside to get my picture. She wanted a picture of me casting my first ballot. Well, anyway, keep in mind where I was. I was in the voting booth in the corner right next to the registration table, and this was before it was electronic, when you actually had a piece of paper to sign. Well, anyway, so what happened was that I had a shorter ballot, but dad was, I don't know how far through his. This guy comes in, stumbling in, drunk off his tailpipe. Anyway, he comes in, "Hey, is this the place to register to vote? Is this the place to vote? I'm here to vote." And the poll workers are like, yes, sir, you can vote here. And they ask him, they said, we're just going to need to see your ID. This dude holds up his ID and shouts this. Hey, y'all, I'm here to vote. See, here's my ID showing I can vote. Okay. As if that's not enough, that situation where, you're in a, things are like really, really bored and you really want to laugh, but you can't laugh. That was me right then and there. So, drunk guy gets signed in, and then he gets handed a ballot. And the only open voting booth that drunk guy can go into is the empty booth between me and my dad. So it now became me, drunk guy, my dad. Well, what happened then was drunk guy took his ballot out of the folder. He goes, hey, look, and shouts like it's like some hunting trophy or like he's a kid that just won a trophy in a pine box derby race or something, or Boy Scouts or something. Goes, hey, look, everybody, I'm going to vote. See, here's my ballot. Okay. So the guy's filling out his ballot loudly. He's like, this guy looks good. I'm going to vote for him. This guy looks good. I'm going to vote for him. Heck it, I'm going to vote for everybody. My dad, being the helpful man that he was, offered to help the guy with his ballot, cast his votes. The man said, no, that's okay. Well, I'm trying not to laugh. My dad is trying to help the guy, I think, or not to laugh himself. And for some reason, of course, it takes longer for me to get done filling out my ballot. And it took, my dad a little longer too. So all three of us managed to finish filling out our ballots at the same time. This is important to know. The way in which we lined up to cast our ballots was Dad was in front, drunk guy was in the middle, I was taking up the rear. Dad wanted to try to assist drunk guy with filling out his ballot. Drunk guy in line says, hey, look, everybody, holds up his ballot. He has marked every single candidate, including writing his first and last name in the top margin of the ballot. He holds it in the air and says, hey, look, everybody, I'm voting. Look, here's my ballot. Gets up to, that machine you push your ballot into. And my dad goes first and he goes, look, let me show you how you do it, where you do one page at a time. This dude jams the machine. Drunk dude, not my dad, but drunk dude, jams the entire thing, including the folder, into the machine. Of course, that severely jams it. I'm waiting. Poll worker takes my ballot because they had a spare machine and casts my ballot. My mom was a little upset that I was not casting my own ballot, but she was cool with it after my dad and I explained what happened. Drunk guy stumbled off. Now, I know that this is kind of not the drinking story you were expecting, but hey, that's my drinking story. And the moral of this story is don't drink and vote. And if you're going to drink and vote, you're going to wind up being a story. Have a good day, y'all.